Hello. Yesterday I explained the first half of the poem, the Elegy written in the Country Churchyard, and today I'll be explaining the rest of it to you. Before I start with my explanation, let me tell you what an elegy is. An elegy is a song of lament. Lament मतलब last poem में बताया है आपको. Lament मतलब sadness. So when somebody dies and you want to write a note about it, or a poem or sort of a thing, or you want to express your feelings, that is called an elegy, right? So this elegy Thomas Gray has written for the dead villagers whose graves are lying in that churchyard. By churchyard, again I'll tell you that he's talking about the churchyard where the graveyard is there, where the graves of the villagers are lying, and he's sitting there and he is lamenting on the fact that these poor people are dead, or not only the poor people but the rich ones are also lying dead, and there is no difference between the rich and the poor. Today we'll take the third, fourth and the fifth paragraph. I'll read it out to you and then I'll explain it to you. The breezy of incense breathing moan, the swallow twittering from the straw-built shed, the cock's shrill clarion or the echoing horn, no more shall rouse from their lowly bed. Let not ambition mock the useful toil, their homely joys and destiny obscure, nor grandeur hear with the disdainful smile the short and simple annals of the poor. The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, and all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, awaits alike the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. Right. So in the first two paragraphs yesterday, I had told you that the church bell is ringing and it is a signal to the villagers that the day has come to an end and that they should be coming back home. And that's what the farmers or the plowmen are doing. And there's a nice breezy atmosphere, cool breeze blowing that time. Cool breeze is blowing that time. And the writer or the poet is sitting in the church, in the churchyard, where he, under the elm trees and the yew trees, lie the graves of the villagers. Okay, that's what I explained to you in the previous part that had the part 1 of this video. Now we come to the third paragraph. The breezy of incense breathing morn, the swallow twittering from the straw-built shed, the cock's shrill clarion or the echoing horn, no more shall rouse them from their lowly bed. Okay, so he's saying that generally what we do, what these villagers used to do in the olden times, when it was evening, they used to burn incense. Incense मतलब अगरबत्ती या कोई भी ऐसी चीज़ जिससे खुशबू होती थी घर में. लोबान भी हो सकता था, वो अगरबत्ती भी होती थी. तो वो बोल रहे हैं कि इतना खूबसूरत एटमॉस्फेयर है, शाम हो रही है, एक जगह खाना बन रहा है, ठंडी हवा चल रही है, और जो ये इंसेंस की महक है, that is covering the whole environment, right? The swallow twittering, the swallow, of course, swallow is a bird, it's the name of a bird. It is twittering. The birds also come back in the evening. If you notice, all those who are staying in the railway colony, they are huge trees, and in the evening time you must have heard the voice of the birds twittering, and you can just hear them because the mama bird and the papa bird are coming back and they are feeding their little ones, and the little ones make a lot of noise, and that's what they are doing. So the birds are coming, where the nests are there, they are meeting their children, the birds are making noise, the smell is overpowering the environment. even the cock is crowing, and it has a very shrill sound. Okay, and it's the time, you know how the a person in the village used to be given the duty to blow the horn. So the horn is like, if I was there in the, okay, in the school, I would have drawn it in the on the board for you. It's like it's I can't tell you what shape it has. Something like, I don't know if you can see it over here. This, something like that. Very bad drawing. So something like that. So they are blowing the horn just to tell them that it's now night time. It's all of you have to go to bed and you have to eat your supper, and it's time to relax now. So he's saying that the weather is beautiful. The birds are coming back to their nests. They are having a good time. I mean, they are just, because all the family members, whether they are birds or human beings, they are all together, and it's a time for them to sit together and have their supper. So it's a beautiful time that they are spending. But unfortunately, the people who are lying dead in those graves shall not be disturbed by these noises, or they will not be affected by these noises that are going around in the atmosphere at that moment. Let not ambition mock their useful toil, their homely joys and destiny obscure, nor grandeur hear with a disdainful smile the short and simple annals of the poor. He says that these villagers and the poor people had a very simple way of living their lives. They used to find pleasure and happiness in the little things of life, just spending an evening together or celebrating a birthday. They were not the people who would show off with their wealth. Whatever they would have, they would call their neighbors and it would be a great get together. But in those olden days, the rich people were like, they used to flaunt their wealth. बहुत दिखावा था. तो हर, जैसे एक गांव में अगर पार्टी है तो बाकी के साइड जो दूसरे गांव थे आसपास के सब लोगों को बुलाया जाता था, और अगर इस गांव में इतनी हाई फाई पार्टी हुई है तो नेक्स्ट गांव वाला अगली बार उससे भी हाई फाई पार्टी रखेगा, ये बताने के लिए कि हमारे पास कितनी वेल्थ है. और वो काफ़ी शो ऑफ करते थे. एंड दे यूज टू मॉक मीन्स मेक फन ऑफ. दे यूज टू, द रिच क्लास पीपल यूज टू मेक फन ऑफ द पुअर पीपल. And the poet feels bad when he thinks about this. He feels bad that how could these rich people who used to just show off with their money would make fun of these poor people who tried to find happiness in the simple ways of life. Last paragraph. The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, and all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, awaits alike the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. So he says that maybe the rich people might boast of their heraldry. Heraldry means about their richness. They boast मतलब show off करना. They might just feel very they might have a lot of attitude in them. They might be very proud of the wealth that they had, and they would flaunt their power. They would flaunt their money कि अपना पैसा, अपना रुतबा, अपना जो मुकाम उन्होंने अपने पैसों से हासिल किया था, वो उस चीज़ को लेके बहुत ज़्यादा शो ऑफ करते थे. लेकिन all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, सब कुछ उनके पास था, और शायद उन पुअर पीपल के पास खुशी के अलावा, सुकून के अलावा शायद कुछ नहीं था. पर वो अपने सिंपल तरीक़ों में जो भी उनके पास था उस समय, उसी से वो लोग खुश थे. But then he hits us, the poet hits the readers with this line which everybody should remember. He says, awaits alike the inevitable hour. कि चाहे वो rich हो या poor हो, चाहे वो uneducated हो चाहे educated हो, चाहे उसके पास सब कुछ हो चाहे उसके पास कुछ भी ना हो, पर एक चीज़ है जो इनएविटेबल है, एक चीज़ है जो ज़रूर ज़रूर सबके साथ होगी, और वो है डेथ. कि you cannot run away from death. Death will come to you, and once you are dead, once you lie down in that grave, then there is no difference between the rich and the poor. उस समय जो बॉडी का जो हाल होता है जब आप अंदर कब्र में चले जाते हैं, तब वो कुछ अमीरों का फ़र्क और गरीबों का फ़र्क नहीं होता, वो सब सेम ही होता है. So he says that maybe you must have led a very glorious life, a very a life full of grandeur and full of high position and people, lots of servants coming to help you and be at your beck and call. But eventually, death is something that you cannot run away from. It will definitely come to you. So the poet sympathizes with the poor people. कि उन लोग जो poor people हैं उनके पास छोटी छोटी बातों में ही बड़ी बड़ी खुशियाँ हैं, लेकिन अमीर लोगों के पास बहुत कुछ है लेकिन फिर भी उनको और चाहिए होता है. They forget that once they die, all that wealth, all that power will not come in use. Okay, so just to summarize the poem once again to you, that the evening bell, the church bell rings, and it is a signal for the villagers and the poet also to know that the day has come to an end and that they should be returning back to home. But the poet can see everybody going back home, but he prefers to stay in the churchyard. He prefers to stay in the village, in the graveyard. And there he sees that under the elm trees and the yew trees lie the graves in perfect order, and they lie and in those graves lie the great grandfathers of the villagers. He also says that the beautiful breeze with the smell of incense, or the voice of the cock crowing so loudly, or the voice of the birds, the noise that the little that they make through their chirping, and the atmosphere at that time does not make any difference to the people who are lying dead. So he thinks of the villagers, both the rich and the poor, and he strikes a big difference that the poor people, they are leading very simple lives. Their ways of living are very simple, and they find happiness in this simplicity. They find happiness in the little things that they get in life. But the rich people, they are trying to show off with their wealth. They are he says that no grandeur here with a disdainful smile, means they try to they try to cover up their feelings with a very spiteful smile, with a very smile that is though they may smile at you, but the feeling behind that smile is not genuine at all. It's a smile full of hatred for the people in front of them, and they make fun of the poor people. They are always trying to outdo the other villagers out. They are always trying to show the other villagers that they are more powerful or they have more money, and they are always trying to show off with their power, with their health, with their wealth. And but eventually they do not realize that whether you are rich or whether you are poor, the ultimate destination of life is that grave, is where you're going to lie. So, like Thomas Gray has feelings for the poor people, so should we also remember that in life we may achieve everything, especially in these difficult times. You must be wondering, every lecture I always talk about the lockdown, but it's very important for us to realize that God has blessed us with a family. God has blessed us with food, with air, with water. We should be thankful for what we have. We should be thankful for what God has given us, because there are so many people around us who are dying because of this disease, or they are dying because they don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have a family near them. Think about those people and then think how lucky you are. So with that luck, I wish you lots of blessings. Take care. Bye-bye.